you have to eat right now. I'm sorry, if there are dog sounds in the background, this is his house, okay? Look at that. I'm not letting him run around and play like normal because he's in recovery. This week has been full of quite a few unexpected twists and turns. After finishing up an off-the-cuff tour of Zion National Park, Finn and I finally left the area, our course set once again for uncharted territory, this time with a new friend in tow, who I will halfway introduce at the end of this video. My last morning in this area started with a shuttle bus tour. I know that everybody's probably rolling their eyes out of boredom, but on this morning, I was ecstatic. I'd fallen asleep the night before with my fingers and toes crossed, hoping that the weather would be cold enough to leave Finn in the van. When I woke up the next morning, it was a nice cloudy 60-degree day, and so ecstatic I became.
Number 4, Court of the Patriarchs, stop number 4.
So this stop at the Patriarchs, it made the whole shuttle ride worth it. I was coming into this national park and shuttle ride assuming that there'd be tourists everywhere, but to my delight, I was the only one at the stop. My feet are numb. The Patriarchs towering above me, the river flowing beside me, the fall colors were, I mean, I was not expecting them at all, but they were so prevalent here in mid-November. When I got back on the shuttle, the clouds decided it was time for a surprise sprinkle. Now, the last thing that I expected when I got on the shuttle bus was to be rained on, but thanks to the many open skylights, those of us in the front of the bus got a very nice surprise. Aside from all that fun stuff, the shuttle ride passed by awkwardly quickly, and before I knew it, I was back at the visitor center saying hi to a very sleepy Finn and driving back to the desert that was beginning to feel like home. I feel damn good about how much time I've spent in this national park. Probably spent like a consecutive 5 hours here. Tomorrow I am hanging out with a friend, I'm meeting up with a friend, and we're in a caravan for a few days. I'm probably not going to film it because we know me, but I'm excited because I feel like I have been alone for far too long at this point. I also don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. Hello. Actually, so I'm gonna sit here as the sun goes down because being outside apparently brings me joy, and I'm trying to be more conscientious of that and schedule it in to my life, especially sunsets. And I'm actually going to read some of my favorite comments from my last video. Nina said, "I just found you last week and have been binging your videos every day. Your videos are so soothing and I love seeing places from your eyes. Keep it up." Thank you. I really appreciate this. I feel like the people who really like my channel say that it's soothing and calming, and the people that hate my channel say that it is chaotic and the opposite of soothing. Not sure what that's about, but I definitely appreciate it. So many people alluded to the fact that they knew where I was, and so I haven't been staying at that spot anymore because I didn't feel safe staying in there anymore. Jojo said, "I love your van life, it's awesome, something that I would love to do. The only thing is I'm 64 and I'm kind of scared to be out there by myself, but kudos to you, awesome, enjoy." I'm kind of scared to be out here by myself too, sometimes, not all the time. I like being around people, and it's always scarier like when you're thinking about doing it than when you actually do it. I had like 3 years worth of just freaking out about how scary it would be to the point where I never actually did it. And then when I finally did do it, I was like, oh, it's not so scary after all. But I still have my nights. Parker asked, "How do you like the new MacBook Pro? It's changing my life." Okay, that's the end. When I got back in the van, I went out of my way to set up my whole stove before realizing that the only food I had in the van was chicken noodle soup. specifically the Campbell Star version. And then I realized I don't own a can opener, and feeling quite defeated, I made some Cheerios and called that dinner. I feel like my head is on the wrong side of the bed. This happens often. Tonight I'm feeling... How am I feeling? I'm feeling very alone. And I say that in a weird way because, like, I have friends. I have somebody that's gonna come visit me tomorrow. I'm not, like, I'm not lonely, but I'm kind of lonely. It's the whole realization that, like, no matter how many people are in your life, nobody will 100% know you. Like, nobody. I don't like that. I really don't. For some reason, I'm having, like, a existential crisis because of that train of thought. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this video for a second because in the next few clips I kind of seem out of sorts, and that's because I debated whether or not I wanted to like tell this on YouTube. I told it on Patreon, but I didn't know if I wanted to tell it on YouTube, but I've decided that I am going to because the rest of the video kind of wouldn't make sense if I didn't tell the story. So, the short story is that Phineas is fine. He's grouchy right now, but he's fine. The long story is that Finn was attacked by a husky. About 2 days before I recorded these next couple clips, I was on a walk with Phineas and a friend who I will be introducing later. Yeah, it was about 5 o'clock. We were just on a sunset hike kind of thing, trying to get our energy out because we had been cooped up editing all day. There was not very many people out, and the first person that we passed was this older guy with a husky, and for some reason my brain was telling me pick Finn up. I'm not really sure why. I think I've developed a sixth sense because I'm a small dog mom. Like, there's just something about having a small white dog who's very, very happy and bouncy and rabbit-like that triggers certain breeds. So, my brain was telling me to pick Finn up. I didn't. Instead, I locked the leash and I put him behind me so that he couldn't go greet the dog. However, when we walked by the dog, I don't know what happened. 1 minute, Finn was on the ground and the next he wasn't. Yeah, no gory details here, but long story short, after about 15 seconds, the husky put Finn down. I picked him up. My friend and I focused on Finn instead of the guy and the other dog because, of course, I'm going to make sure that Finn's okay before I start yelling at somebody. Although I'm not the yelling type, so I definitely wouldn't have yelled, but I'd like to pretend that I would have. After about a minute, it was very, very clear that this was not life or death. He was okay, very, very scared, very, very timid, clearly in pain. It wasn't life or death. And so I looked at my friend and I was like, hey, could you possibly? And he jumped up and he ran after the guy to try to get his contact information. The long story short of that is that the guy ran away and he just left. So we ended up just getting back in our cars and driving to St. George, Utah, which was about 40 minutes away. And we went to the emergency clinic there. The vet was really nice. The people in the waiting room were really, really nice. And about 4 hours after the whole thing happened, we walked out with a relatively inexpensive vet bill. Relatively. And also a very, very tired, sleepy Finn on our hands, high on painkillers. A week and a half later, he's completely fine. I still have this vest on him so that he doesn't lick his wound, but this was his wound at the time. This is his wound now. I would say that the worst injury that came out of this was my finger, and I'm not going to show it on camera because it's kind of disgusting. When the husky grabbed Finn, the leash gave me a really, really fat rope burn kind of thing. It's kind of obvious that I probably should have gotten stitches. That's my story. That's why I am a little bit down in the next couple clips, but throughout the rest of this video, I do talk about Finn's recovery, so. Good morning. I have officially been in St. George, Utah, well, La Virgen, also known as Virgin, also known as Hurricane, spelled hurricane, for like 17 days. I don't know what happened. The time just flew by. It is finally time to skedaddle. So this was Finn's first walk in public since the incident, and I was extremely, extremely worried that he'd be scared of people or other dogs, but much to my relief, he didn't seem too different. He was a little bit more timid saying hi to other people, but he was still interested in meeting other dogs, and we consider that a major win for Finn. At this time of the year in the off season, the park was pretty dang empty, so I chose to walk the popular path from Sunset Point to Inspiration Point. The first 30 minutes I spent alone with Finn, just watching the sunlight fade into the horizon. We hopped from viewpoint to viewpoint, none of them feeling quite perfect, until we landed on this bench under this tree. My camera angle may have been horrid, but as you can see, the view was definitely not. Look at that. Holy heck. While I was sitting on this bench, my friend, who I will be referring to as Joe for this video, he joined me. I met Joe about 3 weeks ago when I was in Mammoth. A caravan came through the hot spring area that I was in, and one of the people was Joe in his little Honda Fit. Yes, a Honda Fit. And after spending a few days with him back in Mammoth, he and Finn got along well enough that when our paths crossed again here in Utah, we decided to caravan for a week. But in all seriousness, it was very, very nice to not have to be alone, both during and after the whole thing with Finn. Who knew having a support system could be so important? So we are currently on our way to some BLM land, or maybe National Forest land. It's probably National Forest land. It's always weird getting places that you've never been before when it's dark outside. If I was alone, I probably wouldn't show up here at night for the first time. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Good morning, good morning. It's like 10:30. I have become a night owl, maybe permanently. I don't know. We pulled in last night when it was completely dark, so I'm very curious to know. I haven't peeked outside yet. Do you want to know what's outside? I really don't know where the time went on this day. It felt like I woke up, made coffee, ate breakfast, started editing, and all of a sudden the sun was going down, which sent me into an hour of rushing to and from town to buy all the materials I needed to finish the project that I promised myself that I'd finish by that night. It turned out to be a wonderfully chaotic project, but I definitely was not expecting to be doing this in the middle of the night. I think that I am becoming a night owl, and I don't know if it's by choice or if it's on accident. I don't know. Anyways, it's now 5:30. I'm gonna go up on my roof and I'm gonna finish what I started the other day, which was the reseal of a portion of my roof. Oh, it's so pretty up here. Okay, all right, we're okay. This is okay. Okay, so basically what's happening here, on my roof, I have 2 solar panels. I have my fantastic fan, and then I have the port where the solar panels go into the van. Now the solar panels are bolted into the roof rack, pre-drilled holes, so they're bolted and sealed and taped. They ain't going nowhere, they're not gonna leave. My fantastic fan, there's like 3 different things that we sealed it with. That's also fine. But this port right here is just caulked. It's cracked, so I need to reseal this like yesterday. So that's what I'm doing. How does this work? Ruh-roh. Use this. Oh, aren't you supposed to cut this? Yes. How to use a caulking gun? Oh, that didn't really help. So how are we this fine evening? Finn's all grouchy today because I'm not letting him run around and play like normal because he's in recovery, but he's pissed off about it, so that's a good sign. This area is way prettier than I thought it was going to be. Not that I thought it was going to be like not pretty, but it's definitely blowing away my expectations. Except coffee shops. There's no sit in coffee shops. I decided that I'm not going home for Thanksgiving. I am getting thrown into a little bit of a mental spiral thinking about being alone on a holiday because holidays are super weird in the van life. Everything's closed. It's almost eerie. Okay, I do admit I did not do very well. However, I did well enough that I think that I'm not worried about leaks. I'm currently experiencing a very high in regards to van life. Like I was thinking the other day, I was trying to imagine what it would be like if I went back and lived a normal life. I couldn't imagine it. Like I just couldn't even think about it. I tried to want to, because there's certain parts that I do miss, but I feel like I'm starting to like level out in a way, and it feels dang good. Come on. Come on, buddy, come on. You feeling better? Yeah? He's hella cute. Run. Are you ready? Ready? Oh, open up. Open up. You look like you're on drugs, honey. This tastes like a ginger snap. Loud trucks make me irrationally mad. Somebody tell me why I'm barefoot. I'm ready to garden. This is flying by. Yes, it is. Well, I do that a lot. I also forget my towel a lot. I'm unhooking my solar panels. I feel like Nim from Nim's Island, except Uno reverse card. Am I stupid? You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You take the compliment. Okay.